Where's he going? Hey, Louis. Former editor, writer, director, producer for the BBC, Louis Robinson. Take a seat, any seat. Current writer on Doctor Who seasons 8, 9, and 10, writer on Being Human, writer of movies like Frequently Asked Questions About Time Travel, Jamie Mathieson. She first entered our lives in the movie King Ralph, but we know her and love her as the sassy, sexy Jackie Tyler. Like the name went out of my head. Please welcome Camille Coduri. Take a seat. She was a companion to the 5th and 6th Doctors, and as we were escorting her up to the stage just now, I heard her say, "All these corridors look the same." Nicola Bryant. And finally, he is the Doctor, whether you like it or not. Colin Baker.
And if you don't like it, it's too late.
Thank you all so much for being here this weekend.
Very good.
Have you had a good weekend? And if you haven't, don't say anything. But honestly, seriously, have you had a good weekend?
Yeah, amazing. Really lovely.
It's been great. I was ill for some of it. But
Yeah, so poorly. It's been very good.
I'm just glad there's not a bucket next to me this time. Without buckets.
Without buckets.
Well, on the basis that time goes very quickly when you're having fun, it seems like 2 minutes since I got here. So I must
I bet he says that in every convention he goes to.
Yes, but this time he means it.
Actually, no, I've never said that one before.
Oh, wow. That's
I may use it again, though.
You're welcome to, absolutely. It's your own material, you can use it as you really see. Okay, this is going to be a fairly informal hour. We're not going to talk about, oh, you know, your role in Doctor Who and all that kind of stuff. We're just going to talk about fun things. So if anybody has a question that they can address to our whole panel of guests, I'm going to run around with the microphone, so raise your hand. Oh, yeah, we got one already. Oh, we got 2 already. All right, we're going to do the first hand that I saw. I think I know what you're going to ask.
I asked this question last year and it made everybody laugh. So we'll ask it again.
No pressure.
Okay. Right. I want you 5 people to sing, not the Doctor Who theme song, but a song from your childhood TV show.
Sing your favorite television theme song.
Or if you can't sing, hum it.
And I want you to know I stole that question and I used it at DragonCon. I asked the Torchwood cast that, and they loved it. So your favorite television theme song?
Robin Hood riding through the den. Robin Hood, with his bandit men. Feared by the bad, loved by the good. Robin Hood, Robin Hood, Robin Hood.
Oh, I'm torn between the hum and a little thing. Or, do I do an American one or do I do an English one?
Or both.
Okay, the English one. Do 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 Yes, Mathieson. That's a horse. In case you couldn't tell, one with 5 legs. Although I was not a horsey person, because if you study ballet, you're not allowed to be a horsey person, I did love watching that beauty. And later, I got to work with the actress who was in it. We ended up playing sisters or something. And then, hey, we're the monkeys! That's all we got.
Awesome.
So one of mine was HR Professor. Remember that?
Yes.
Oh, I loved him. And one that went up above the streets and houses, rainbow climbing high. It was called Rainbow. Paint the whole world with a rainbow. It was really good.
And I have to tell you, 2 of my closest friends are Jane and Fred of Rob, Jane and Freddie.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
I've met them in his dressing room.
It's true. They're the ones who sang the tune. And they were in
Now,
their
I
own
mean,
show.
those of you that know Rainbow, there's a pressing question that needs to be asked now. Were Rod, Jane and Freddie all doing each other?
Well, the actual answer is that Rod and Jane were married.
Right.
They got divorced, and about 18 months after they got divorced, she got together with Freddie, and they're married.
Wow, that explains a
Learn
lot.
something new every day.
Not quite as graphic as you. I think Rod and Freddie were just good friends.
Okay. Well, they were until that happened.
Yes. No, they still are, they all turn up.
Okay. Right, I've got to do the tune. I don't know how popular this is in the US, but I'm going to go for it anyway. Da 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 da. Yes, Blake 7. Yes.
Or as we knew in Aegon's 5. This is actually very clean, but the words have changed since it was written, and it shows you how old I am. We love Muffin, Muffin the mule, good old Muffin playing a fool.
We love Muffin.
We love Muffin the mule.
He was a string puppet, and Annette Mills was the lady who worked with him. John Mills' sister. Remember John Mills, a great actor? His sister was Muffin the Mule, with Muffin the Mule, and Prudence Kitten.
It's just a real pity that Muffin the Mule is now also prison slang.
That's what I meant about the way words change.
He's so dark, isn't he? He's so dark. And it's Sunday. Do you remember Catweasel?
Yeah.
Oh, Catweasel was amazing.
Now,
I
he was
don't
an
remember
actor.
the theme tune.
He
Yeah,
could have
Jeffrey
played the
Belton.
Doctor. He could have played the
Yeah,
Doctor.
he could have done. He was very.
Wasn't he also the crowman out of Wurzel Gummidge? Was it the same actor that played the crowman?
Yes, he was.
Links back to John Pertwee.
Does.
The sign.
And he was also the principal of this stage school, which was the BBC series called The Biz, in which I played the American dance teacher.
There you go.
Too spooky. It's too spooky.
Questions? Okay, I've got one. What is the oddest fan experience you've had at a convention?
No.
Funniest?
No.
Funniest?
Funniest?
Funniest fan experience?
Safer.
Oh, good. I know we could cross the line with the other one, okay. So the funniest fan
Start
experience.
at that end.
I'm thinking. I'm a slow thinker. I'm not a performer like these guys.
There was actually something that happened at this con, which I found very funny, which was I was in the lift, And for some reason, anyway, so I'm coming down from the top floor, and they were talking about saying there's no button for the 16th floor amongst the people in the lift. There's about 9-10 people in the lift. And someone said, where I work, there aren't any numbers as to what floor you're getting off. And someone said, where do you work? And they said, CDC. And then someone else said, yeah, I work there too. I used to work with anthrax until I caught it. Now they don't let me work with anthrax anymore. In a lift.
Everyone evacuate now.
That happened yesterday, but it was just like the timing of her saying, now they don't let me work with anthrax anymore. The door opened and I just got off. I was ill all yesterday, so...
I think one of the funniest things I've ever seen was about 6 weeks ago in Tampa at Time Lord Fest, when Debbie and Scott were supposed to be appearing and talking about the philosophy of Doctor Who. And for light relief, Moxie was supposed to be on the same panel. Well, what happened was that Debbie and Scott didn't show up because they didn't know they were supposed to be there. So we all sit down. I was in the audience, but I want to learn about the philosophy of Doctor Who, for God's sake. And Moxie sits there and waits and waits and waits, and nothing happens. And then she starts. Well, Phil could be a name. Osophy. The study of it, and what followed was 50 minutes of pure improv. She hadn't a clue. And I just thought, shall I go up there and help her? No, let the damn woman sweat.
I couldn't possibly follow that. I don't have any, I'm laughing, but I think I need a bit longer to think about it, so I might get back at the end of the session with something.
What's the average age of the audience? Okay. I got them all on one layer that I can't talk about, and the funny ones, yeah, they all come over there as well. I can talk about well, of course it's not so funny, but I'm sure it's very funny that for 3 years I was doing all my conventions like this and just saying how great it was to be, you know. So the American Nicola was given a bodyguard on my first convention, to which I thought, wow, why would I need a bodyguard? Nobody's even seen me do anything. There wasn't anything out. And we were at the Hyatt, where they used to hold all the Hyatt, whatever it was, in Chicago, right? Hyatt Regency, where they filmed Towering Inferno with those glass lifts that come down.
A bit like here.
A bit like here, but only really small. You can fit like 3 people in. And huge, long escalators. And I was thinking, the only thing I could relate to in my childhood, having such a massive crush, as some of you were on Paul McCartney and the Beatles, was all the footage you get of, you know, teenagers screaming. And I thought, well, it's not going to be like that, is it? It's not going to be like, why do I need a bodyguard? So my bodyguard, not like we have here, nice helpers, you know, my bodyguard, came to my room, knocked on my door, my suite, and said, right, you know, you've got a panel, so you would come. So I said, I don't really want to take that lift, let's take the escalator. Big mistake. So, and I'm wearing not a very short skirt, but a shortish skirt, and a tightish skirt, and we're coming down the escalator, and a man at the bottom of the escalator looks up at me and goes, "It's Perry!" and faints. Right across the bottom of the escalator. No, hey, you know, Perry's not even been seen yet. I haven't done anything. I'm thinking, a little hysterical, perhaps. So now I'm thinking, okay, I have to step over this man, and is he going to open his eyes at the wrong moment? This could be an embarrassing situation, and I've got about 30 seconds, 29, 28, to think about what I'm going to do. But, you know, basically my bodyguard, which I found out what his purpose was, just lifted me up and took me over the bottom. What he was really doing was protecting the body at the bottom of the stairs. But, you know, it was an interesting start. Very surreal. Very surreal.
I have two answers. One American one, one English one. The American one is, the only convention in America my wife came with me, and this was in New Orleans. And we opened the bedroom door in the morning to leave, to go downstairs and join the fun and frolics. And lying across the doorway was a young lady dressed in unit uniform with a rifle beside her and a couple of bags. And I said, excuse me, hello. Oh, sir! And I said, what are you doing here? I'm guarding you, sir! And I said, guarding me with a pretend rifle. It's not a pretend rifle, sir! What? She was in the Army Reserve or something, and a Doctor Who fan. She was lying outside my door with a loaded gun. And I said, I'd feel an awful lot safer if you weren't there. She was quite offended. I made it quite clear I didn't want people with live rounds of ammunition outside my bedroom door all day. And if anything drew attention to the fact that there was something inside worth shooting. The other one, the English one, I've been asked to sign many odd things in my time. And a woman came up and said, do you sign breast implants? I said, well, not normally. A bit tricky. Do you need a scalpel? I mean, I said, no, it's my old one. And she placed this, well, from a distance, it could have been a very pleasant pudding. On the table, a piece of jelly that wobbled. She said, it's all right, it's been cleaned. Thank you very much. And I took my Sharpie and I wrote on a breast implant.
And then burned the Sharpie.
Customer knows what they want. There are hundreds of stories. Most of you were here this afternoon when I talked about people looking at the photograph. You know, the photographs in front of me, I'm signing them, they look down, look at me. What time is he getting here? So have you thought of yours yet?
No, I'm a bit of a newbie, I guess. So I haven't really, nothing that you would find funny, so...
So if there's anybody out there who wants to do something weird, today's the day. So you've got to give her a tale. Before she leaves here today, she's got to say, the worst thing in the world happened to me.
What terrible experience is about to happen.
This question is for Colin. You acted with Helen Mirren very early in your career, and I apologize, I can't remember in what television show it was, but Cousin Bet, that's right. You could make that. She recently appeared, of course, in Fast and Furious 8. I was wondering if you saw...
Fast and Furious 8.
She was in Fast and... She played Jason Statham's mother.
It's just out, isn't it?
Yeah, it just came out a couple of weeks ago. I was wondering if you had seen it, because I know you like action films, and I wondered what you thought about Helen Mirren. And she actually went to them and asked for a role in it, because she loves the franchise.
That's her girl. She was always adventurous, was Helen. she did Cousin Bet with me. I'm sorry, some of you have heard this story earlier today. 1970, 71. It was her first television. She'd been at the RSC for several years and done all sorts of amazing stuff. And she was employed by the villainess of the piece, Cousin Bet, to seduce me. I was a Polish sculptor, and I learned my only Polish that I'll ever be able to say, which is Jak mogłem tak nisko upaść, which means how could I sink so low? After what Helen Mirren did to me. And it was a scene that required us to be in the state that most people are when they do things they're not normally watched doing. And I was given some nice flesh-coloured knickers to protect my modesty in the studio. And as I was waiting to film the scene, in came Helen Mirren, who hadn't bothered with all that. And it was a very full studio that day. It's amazing how many people found jobs to do around the studio. And she walked up to each one of them and said, "Hello, how are you?" And they riveted to her eyes, "Yes, fine." No, I'm not looking at anything else, just her eyes. And made me feel like a right twerp, doing my flesh-coloured knickers. I'm just wishing it was happening now, really. But she was lovely, but she's a lady who's afraid of nothing, which is a very useful characteristic to have for an actor. Fear is the great limiter. If you have no fear, you can do anything. And she did.
So my question is for the five of you. When I go home today, I'm going to have the joyful memory of meeting all five of you. When you go home and somebody says Atlanta, Georgia, what's going to come to your mind?
Somebody said anthrax.
You're assuming we're going to be let back into the UK.
I will go home and I will be quizzed by my other half. I wasn't. And I will be able to say, genuinely, you missed a lot of fun. You missed some fantastic people, and I really enjoyed every minute of this convention. And that isn't usually the case. It really isn't. When Colin said you have to come, this is a really fun convention. You are just like the perfect people, the perfect size convention, the perfect everything, except I probably could have done another day. But I can genuinely say that this has been some of the most fun and rewarding back, that we managed to raise some money for a good charity. And I met a lovely man last night, Trent, who was very generous. And you're all fabulous.
You've got a big smile on his face.
It was a single malt. So that I will genuinely say.
Oh, Miss Moxie.
Oh, yes!
I remember Moxie.
Not my thing.
Oh,
I should say that.
say what? No, you say it. Tell Moxie.
They're fighting over you, Moxie.
I'm fighting over you, darling.
People, that's what you remember from conventions. People say, you know, what's your memory of Atlanta? None whatsoever, never saw it. What's your memory of Atlanta people? That they're welcoming, that they're friendly, that they're funny, that they're kind, that they're generous. And what I like about these kind of conventions, like the Doctor Who only convention, is you all sort of know each other. It's not like going to the big Comic-Cons where someone who loves Arrow, you know, has nothing to say to someone who likes Doctor Who, or vice versa. You all share the same passion, same interest. So you all make friends with each other. And I suspect some of you come back, not because we're here, but because you want to see your friends again. Family!
Yes, family.
And when you're in that kind of atmosphere, it's very relaxing for us as well. So thank you for that.
I'm going to miss how you say
the fact that, sorry, we should call that. No, that's not really applause, but let me talk. I like the fact that I now know what grits are. Literally, it was a real voyage of discovery for me when I went into the canteen and they had a big sort of spread on and there was just one sort of pan covered that had grits next to it and I'm like, finally I'm gonna know. It's sort of white. I didn't eat it, you know. That's next time. Next time I'll go and but the other thing, in a more serious note, I mean, it's been a lovely time, but I obviously had a bit of a crap sort of sick day on Saturday where I was just sort of, you know, quite out of it and very pale. But the amount of people, genuinely, stunning amount of people who came up to me during today and the latter half of Saturday to say, are you okay? And it's just really nice that you know, that was the sort of vibe that I was getting from the people, so I thank you for that. It's been lovely. Thank you.
It doesn't happen everywhere.
No, it really doesn't.
Well, I'm in a very difficult position because for the last 16 years this has been home. But I have to genuinely say that every time I come back, and I've been doing this, how long have I been doing this, Alan? We started in the Scout Hut in Chambly, didn't we?
9 years now?
More than that.
No, 9.
9, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
I stand corrected.
We're on number 12, and I think you came in the 3rd year, so.
And it started small, and I at the beginning I didn't know anything about fandom. I was only here by accident because I'd worked on the Bird Weaklings. And I kept coming back every year, and every year it grew and grew and grew. And I kept thinking one day it's gonna, this time it's just jumping the shark. And it never has. And every time I come back, everybody makes me feel so welcome. And it's like I just continue the conversation from last time. And I keep thinking, it's not gonna work. This is it. And it always does. And I go back home and Lynn doesn't even say to me now how to go. She knows that for these 3 days, I'm out of it, I'm away from my little world into this little world. And because of Alan, and thank God to Doctor Who, I have made so many friends in Atlanta. And as a result, I go and visit these cons all over the place. And it's like a family that grew out of a mistaken job that I once had as an assistant film editor in Evening Film Studios in 1973. And I can't thank you all enough. Just one other thing. The last time he was here, I did that spot at the concert, and as I was walking out the door, his minder comes up and says, Colin says, where's your CD? And I said, I haven't made a CD. I've been singing for 40 years, I've written songs, I've recorded them all, I've never produced a CD. And you said, you bloody well, get your acting gear. And as a result, I made the CD.
Oh.
So thank you.
You sent it to me.
I sent it to you.
Thank you. Now, I just have one thing, but sorry to interrupt you. The other thing that memory I'll carry is listening to your band playing Bowie stuff.
Oh, yeah.
On Friday night, which was amazing. I'm a great David Bowie fan, and they did the guy proud.
So, you know, all of us here, we're like on the other side. You guys are all in the club. You're all in the Doctor Who club from whatever era, whatever period of time you're involved in. What's the best part of being in that club?
That you're not allowed in.
Exclusivity, that's what he said.
You all know him, right?
Lifelong friendships. I've known Colin over half my life.
Wow, yes. Yes.
And that doesn't happen on most jobs that you pop into for a year or so, 2 years, 3 years. You lose touch with people, but because we get to do these conventions and be a part of this group at whatever point, you meet people from knew Who, and I get to know people from the generation that I watched on television, and we become friends. We discover that we have more than Doctor Who in common. We have other things in common, and we become friends, and we may not have the time to always see each other between conventions, but we always make the time to catch up at conventions somehow. And that is, I mean, I have to thank Doctor Who for my dearest friend.
Okay, my answer. For most of you, Doctor Who.
Was there something?
Carry on.
Oh, okay.
No, I
Sorry.
just...
Oh, I thought we were all giving an answer, sorry.
Okay, go.
No pressure, no pressure. I used to, when I was a stand-up comic many years ago, I had a bit of material, and it was about the idea that when you're waiting for somebody, and they're, for me anyway, if I'm waiting for somebody and they're 5 minutes late, my brain immediately goes, well, they're obviously dead. I've just got one of those brains. But not only that, while I'm waiting for them, I'll go through the scenario and think, okay, what's going to happen next is the police are going to come and talk to you about the fact that they're dead. And because you were waiting for them, you haven't got an alibi for their murder. And you're going to end up in prison. And you know, they're 10 minutes late and I'm already trying to figure out how I'm going to avoid Mr. Big in the showers. The point being that I've always thought like that. I've thought like that since I was a child. I've always been thinking, what would I do if zombies came into this room now? You know, that's always where my brain goes. I'm always thinking of obscure things and monsters. Even if I didn't work for Doctor Who, I'd still be the odd guy thinking odd thoughts about monsters. And the lovely thing about Doctor Who is, it's my job now. I can think nonsense all day long and it's tax deductible.
I just wanted to say something about when you said that the family include, you know, never mind about our side of the club. Our side of the club is great because what you do when you become a professional at this stuff is that you start to see secrets. And I love analysing things, as you probably all realise in the last years, that to watch actors with their guard down, with you not here, working, to watch scriptwriters working, to see a producer saying, this is what I want, and to see the whole thing coming together, and to realise that actually what they're doing is incredibly difficult. And when it works, my God, I'm glad I'm in the pilot seat at the back watching. I want to have a t-shirt that says innocent bystander. Because all I've done is watch people work. And when you see the good ones work, oh my God, it's something you'll never see. And I'm sorry you can't, because no matter how open we are here, we're still performing. But when you see an actor who's in trouble, figuring it out, oh, it's magic, it's magic.
And my serious answer is, we're all in the same club actually. It's just that we're flying first class and you're... Could you, each of you talked about the first day or the first job you had? First day on the first job? Yeah. I was working in the hardware shop in... You don't mean that job, do you? No. I had a weekend job in a hardware shop. I loved it, nails and screws. First day on the first job. First acting job. My first acting job was Plaintiff in a Pretty Hat, which was a kind of drawing room comedy, 1969, 13th of April, the Cambridge Arts Theatre, with an actress called Jill Brown, who was in Emergency Ward 10, and a lovely actor called Norm Wooland, who was Horatio to Olivier's Hamlet in the film. And it was my first job. I'll give you the second day, because the first day was the first night and I was terrified. We got through it. Then I relaxed. On the second night, I was standing in the wings and there was a sudden silence on stage. And the silence went on, and I was the next person to enter. So I thought, I've blown it already, I'm late. And I rushed on stage saying, Father, are you in there? Which was my 9. And I realised I was 2 pages too early. Because the actor playing my father was kissing my girlfriend. Something I was not supposed to know about. So my father said, go away. Being an experienced actor, inexperienced actor, oh, sorry. And I went off and I waited for my actual cue, which I heard, and I came on, and he said, what was all that about? It's not a lie. Speak up, I can't hear you. Because when you're not very experienced and you're improvising, you tend not to give it the welly you should. So he made me improvise for about 10 lines each about why I'd come on. And the fact that I hadn't seen anything, had I? And I learned more in 10 minutes than I'd learned from 3 years at drama school. That was my first experience. That's all. So long.
My first acting job was my first day's filming Planet of Fire. But before my first day of filming Planet of Fire of Doctor Who, I did a job which they wouldn't consider would be an acting job, which is just the interview on BBC Breakfast TV, in which you are interviewed as the actress who is going to be the new companion. However, I had to pretend I was American. So therefore I consider that to be my first acting job. Because I had to go on television to however many millions of viewers watch Breakfast TV and sound completely different from the way I had sounded all my life, and I was just waiting for the phone to ring, somebody I went to school with, my neighbour, a relative, somebody to ring up and go, what's going on? She's a fake! So I spent the whole time just like going, oh, this is not going to end well. I looked like I was nervous about getting the job and I was doing that giggly thing, but actually I just thought any minute now this is all just going to blow up. So that was kind of my first acting job.
I was thrown in the deep end with my first acting job. It was a big picture called A Prayer for the Dying with Bob Hoskins, Alan Bates, Mickey Rourke, directed by Mike Hodges, who directed Get Carter. Do you remember Get Carter? Yeah. I was 21, and my first day, we all get picked up, obviously, and got picked up and driven to Park Street in Mayfair, which is really top drawer area in London. You know, it is on the Monopoly board. Everybody wants Mayfair and Park Lane. So got taken there, and it confused me because it's based on the book. It was based on the book by Jack Higgins, A Prayer for the Dying, and I played the young prostitute in it. And she lived in a council flat apartment with and drove a minicar. Well, I got there and it was Mayfair, and I said, I thought I had a council flat. They said, no, you're high class now. You haven't got, I said, what about the minicar? No, you haven't got a mini, you've got a big Mercedes. So, oh, crikey. Anyway, somebody had to take me out and teach me to drive anyway, because I hadn't passed my test. I had to drive Mickey Rourke around in a big Mercedes and pretend I could drive. Can you imagine? I didn't know.
My God!
Yeah, it was really scary. It was really scary, but absolutely brilliant. And I met my husband on that show as well.
You're married to Mickey Rourke?
No, I married. Actually, he was really awful to me in the film. He raped me in the film. It was terrible. But anyway, we got married, so it's all fine now.
Well, heck of a way to propose.
supposed to follow that. So. My first sort of proper writing gig, I was still doing stand-up, and my agent got me a gig writing for the American version of Family Feud, sorry, the British version of Family Feud, which is called Family Fortunes. And I also did Catchphrase. I don't know if you have Catchphrase.
Yeah.
And I did both of those one after the other, one season. And
Did you?
I did. It's not on my CV anyway. You won't find it anywhere on the net. It's probably going to appear now after this, I'm sure. But part of it was, day one was effectively me showing the director that I had the chops and that I could write jokes for the host. So the idea was that I would write the opening monologue for the host and then a one-liner for after the break. And I polished this monologue to within an inch of its life, and I made sure it had 3 punchlines in it, and it was lyrical and wonderful and just the best thing I'd ever written. And I handed it to the director, and he went, "Well, if they're all as good as that, we'll be laughing." And I just went, "Oh, you fucking idiot." Sorry for the F-word. But I just thought, I've ruined it for myself now. He's going to expect every single one to be that good. And yeah, that was my first day. And I realised then, always follow the contract. Never do more than you need to for any job. Because otherwise they'll expect it every day.
I was always enamored with the magic, and even when I was in film school, I used to walk, somebody would say, "Go and deliver this film to Water Street," and I used to walk up and down the street hoping people would see me with the film can and think, "Oh, he's in the business." So when I finally got a job in the BBC, we were sent out to various locations, and my first location was Ealing Film Studios. Now, first of all, it's Ealing Film Studios, right? One of my lecturers at film school directed Scott of the Antarctic. I thought, this is going to be a magical experience. It cannot be not magical. It's going to be, in fact, it's going to be terrible. I'm going to walk in, it's going to be filthy and dirty. And I walked in, first of all, a Camille passed me by, and I thought, I'm in the film business. And then I was up in the cutting room, and they did what assistant film editors do. The film editor said to the trainee, "Here's a film can, it's empty, go and get 3 cups of coffee from the canteen." So I was the tea boy, right? So I walked down the stairs thinking, oh dear, this is supposed to be romantic. And at the bottom of the stairwell are 4 guys dressed in red, and they're having an argument. And they're clerical, they're kind of priests. Yeah. And I went and got the coffee, and I came back, and I thought, who are those guys? And nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition.
Okay, this is our last question, and we got to do it a little bit quickly.
Okay, it's a good one. It's for Colin. Colin, I'm very impressed by your ability to remember such detail, and I'm a big fan of your non-Doctor Who work. You delivered what I believe to be the greatest line of dialogue in the history of television in the pilot for Jonathan Creek. And I'm hoping you remember what it was. You were talking on the phone to your lover, and she was asking you what you wanted her to do. And you said, "No, I want you to come over here and make me bark like a sea lion."
Oh.
How could you forget that?
I couldn't hear everything you were saying. That was the very first episode of Jonathan Creek. And I was the first person to die with Jonathan Creek. And I was this over-the-top artist who was painting these huge murals of large Rubens-esque nude ladies. And yes, there was that conversation. I want you to come over here and make me bark like a dog. A seal. Sea lion. I get all good parts. I have forgotten what you said.
You should say I could do that with a look.
And the other reason I loved that particular story was that the girl who killed me was a very glamorous model. She was the sister of another model, very well known. She was a beautiful woman, and she killed me because she was jealous because I'd gone off with somebody else. And they cast me in that part. That's one of my favourite roles ever for that reason.
Okay, well almost the end of our time. And I want to say thank you all for coming this weekend and making such an important experience for all of us. Well, I was going to say, do you have any final words for the audience? But now that they've already stood for you, no, actually, would you like to say?
I think we've said it.
I just want to say, my cheeks are aching. I've smiled so much. I've had so much laughter. I actually can feel it.
You're great, and when my time comes around again, if ever it does, I'd like to come back.
Excellent.
And of course, he will need his nurse. How is it?
You don't have to. I'm just, I didn't want to cut anybody off, that's all. You can.
The suspense.
It's been such a long weekend.
And I really miss y'all so much. You will. I think you're amazing, amazing team, and it's not. There's never a them and us. It's a we. So thank you very much.
And she said y'all. That was so cute.
Thank you for looking after me in my hour of need. You've been the best nursing unit anyone could hope for. Even though you gave me anthrax.
See you next year.
Thank you. Oh.
And just in case we all forget, there's a handful of people in this room who organised this event, and have organised not only are they great organisers, and that they organise from the heart, it's because they care as well. They're now, as far as I'm concerned, and have been for some time, good friends. So you know the truth of that. You all know the truth of that, so thank you.
Thank you all so very much. Colin Baker, Nicola Bryant, Camille Coduri, Jamie Mathieson, Louis Robertson. Thank you all for an amazing weekend.
Thank you.
Safe journeys.